Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 7 of Vengeance of the Moon Knight, which is a tie-in to the Blood Hunt event, written by Jed MacKay. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. Now this issue opens up in Asgard, during the events of issue number 4 of the Blood Hunt main title, when we saw Hunters Moon and Tigra breaking into Asgard. Because like we all know, the world is currently under attack and the sky has turned black, and vampires are everywhere. And somehow, Hunters Moon found himself tangled up in Avengers business once again, trying to end it. So because of that, instead of being on the front lines, he was now in Asgard, uninvited. So as he and Tigra snuck through the hallway, Tigra asked if he was okay. To which he responded by saying, his life was changed once he accepted that one god was real. And now, here he is, looking over a city of gods. So with that said, Tigra replied by saying she was sorry because sometimes she forgets how new he is to all of this. Because she has been at this for so long that she takes sights like this for granted. Now with that out there, the third man in the group chimed in and said if the gods catch the two of them creeping around, they'll just be confused. But if they catch him with them, then they will have a whole other problem. To which Tigra smirked and casually called him a big bad supervillain. Now despite Tigra's little remark, Hunters Moon had to admit that he was not wrong. Because what they were about to do wouldn't be widely accepted if everyone knew about it. Because they met with what remained of the Avengers and Doctor Strange and formed a war council. And at the end of it, their mission was to raise an army, which led them to Asgard with the help of Clea's strange magic. Now once again, they were lucky that no one asked them where exactly their plan came from, which was good because Hunters Moon didn't want to lie to them. All of this, planning a rip and run on Asgard of all places. Because in all honesty, Hunters Moon and Tigra have been putting this together for ages. Because ultimately he just wants to help save the world, and the lives within it. But most importantly he wants to save one life in a particular. And this is how he is able to do both, thought Hunters Moon as they approached a massive Asgardian vault. "Hello, Father. I've come for you," he declared as the door began to open, revealing a dark interior. For within this prison was none other than Khonshu, because apparently after he was imprisoned following his failed attempt to conquer the world, he was sealed away behind said door. So anyway, Khonshu goes on to call Hunters Moon his loving son and continues to say it was so kind he had come to visit him, but unfortunately, he was afraid it was also foolish, for he believed his son didn't have the power to free him. Now to that comment, Khonshu was correct, because he didn't have the power to open this door. But he has brought something better. Because what is better than a tool to open an Asgardian prison than an Asgardian crowbar? Because Hunters Moon's insane plan was to free an insane moon god with the help of a supervillain. Now with no time to waste, Wrecker swung his crowbar at the chains. And while he was doing that, Tigra narrates how she is doing this all because a man she loved died, and she couldn't save him, she couldn't save Mark. So as the door creaked open, Wrecker continued to pull the crowbar against the chains and grunted out, for the first time, he wished Thor was there just so he could see the look on his stupid face. And following that outburst, the door snapped open, and Hunters Moon, Tigra, and Wrecker stepped through. And on the next page, we see Khonshu erupting free over the city of Asgard in all his glory. Now with the moon god free, we see Hunters Moon, Tigra, and Wrecker falling, just to land in the hand of Khonshu. And once they were there, Khonshu told them to not be afraid, for they were safe within his hands. So with that said, Tigra's first question was, if they were still in Asgard, to which, Khonshu responded by saying, "No my daughter, for he has returned them to his own realm, his own seat of power." And then he goes on to say, that she has visited it before with his other son, referring to Mark. So with the realization of his words setting in, Tigra couldn't help but to begin to cry as she started to ask about her love, Mark Spector. So with the question in the air, Khonshu walked by the team and stated that a great crime had been inflicted upon the world, an unnatural night with no moon. And so he had gathered all his children, all his fists from time immemorial to be present, because every person on earth is now a traveler by night. And on a side note, let me just say, this comic has some amazing art within it. And as I'm going through the pages, I can't help but to be at awe with the visuals. But anyway, as Khonshu walks his way past his previous heralds, he then states, his fists have no blood to be drunk, no lives to be lost, no fear to be stirred. But his fists do wield the moon's own silver from his personal armories. So as Khonshu continued to walk and prepare for the battle before them, Tigra, with rage in her heart, lashed out and grabbed his cape and shouted how they had him freed, but yet he refused to answer her about the whereabouts of Mark. Because up to this point, all Khonshu had been saying was his many fists throughout the ages are now just husks of what they used to be, so because of that, Tigra was then under the impression that Mark was unable to be resurrected, much like the others. So with that statement out there, Khonshu turns to face the love of his son and asks if she doubts him, if she believes that he would fail his own son, that he would resurrect him mindlessly, as his siblings have become after their many resurrections. And to that question, Khonshu answered with a mighty no, as Mark Spector walked out of a glowing door, clad in his Moon Knight robes. For Khonshu wanted Mark Spector, his Moon Knight, to lead this vast army. So as the previous heralds offer their blades to their new commander, on the next page, we see Tigra's eyes shoot open wide as both Mark and herself catch sight of each other. And almost instantly, everything around them meant nothing to them as they ran full speed towards each other. For this life she had, and the world she lived in was completely unfair, for even in the joy was pain. And the two are never in equal measure, and every victory there's loss. So why does she do it? Why does she keep fighting? Now she does it because in all the pain, all the loss, she hopes there's a moment that makes it all worth it. So with tears coming down Tigra's face, Mark removes his hood, and on the next page, the two lovers connect in a joyous hug as they share a passionate kiss. Now this moment was long awaited for, and on a side note, I love how Marvel took the opportunity to take this resurrection of Moon Knight and the release of Khonshu out of the main Blood Hunt title and retell it in its entirety in the Moon Knight's comic proper. So following their kiss, Mark tells his love that he broke his promise, for he promised her that he would come back for her, but he ended up dying. To which Tigra responded by saying he is back now and he has work to do. So with that said, Mark put back on his mask and asked what are their plans to handle the current situation. So with everyone ready, Khonshu stated that they will go to war and the vampire scum spills blood across the world in the night. His night. So because of that, he would lead a force of his siblings into the heart of the battle, as the Avengers do battle with the architect of this atrocity. So his goal is to have Mark join them and show the world how his father protects travelers by night. Now, as you may have guessed, Tigra wanted to be at Mark's side, but Khonshu shot it down because he points out that they do war on a global scale, so he would need Tigra and Hunter's Moon to lead their own forces of his warriors on other fronts. Now with the marching orders given, Wrecker refused to aid any further and went about his way. So with that settled, Khonshu looked at Mark and said, "So you still can't say it even now?" To which a thankful Mark quietly said thank you for his life. And with those final words, Khonshu was ready to go off to war. For his symbol shines in the sky, for their battle standard our challenge to our enemies. And on the next page, we see Moon Knight, Hunter's Moon, and Tigra leading their armies into battle against vampires, gods, maniacs, and monsters, because nothing will stop Mark from coming back this time. So with that said, this issue comes to an end. Now with that out there, if you want to stay in the loop about any individual storyline, then how about you hop over to the playlist section down below or in the link cards above to get all caught up on the Blood Hunt event. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.